Episode number 176 with Steve and Mike. Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is Steve Barton.
And this is Mike.
How are we doing, Mikey? You're back in California. It seems like just 12 hours ago you and I were having dinner.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
I'm good at making people aware that I'm so sad and depressed they buy me dinner, Steve. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your suckerness, which we've established is world class.
It's world class, yes.
That was very nice of you.
So good.
Yeah, I got out of town not real quick. I mean, I played some tournaments, bricked them all, and I had a little. I raised money from investors. I had a little more money to enter a couple more win dailies, which we both love.
Yeah.
But a couple factors, I decided it's just time to get out of town. So a second straight year, Vegas kind of kicked my ass. Of course, I was only out there for altogether like 10 or 11 days this year, so there's only so much brutality that can be done. But your Vegas is still going. Where are you at now, Steve? You've had like 8 tournaments. You've cashed 3, or what is? Do you keep track of that?
I do. You know what? I have it in my in that poker income app you told me about, and for me to pull it out right now would just make the conversation boring. I believe I've cashed in 4, maybe played 10, something like that. I don't know. I'd have to look. I'm just guessing.
Nice.
The last one I had a min cash at the win, which was nice because I bageled the Aria like 30 minutes before. I was only in that thing for 15 minutes. I misplayed top 2 pair. It was dumb. Just looking back, the situation, the guy, he's never doing that with less than a set. I should have known. Yeah.
I don't know. Top 2 pair always sounds strong to me. But,
but the way
if you didn't,
it was like I had King Jack off. I'm in this 3-betting mode, so I 3-bet the old guy. He calls. Flop comes King Jack 10, 2 spades. We don't have a spade. He bets 3K. We call. Turn is an offsuit 4. He checks. We bet like 6,500. He shoves all in. And at that point, I'm like, why didn't I check? And I was like, can I fold this? I should fold this. This is a fold.
How much to call?
Let's see. Starting stacks, I believe there were 20K. It was like right at the beginning. So we had like 100 big blinds.
Okay. So basically, probably about 9K to call to win 31. Does that sound about right?
Total in the pot, we both had about starting stacks would have been
right. So 40K. After you put 3-bet pre-flop, and you said it was 3K on the flop.
3K on the flop, yeah.
So then another 6,500. So yeah, you probably have 9K in your stack. So yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to do the math in my head. I'm just terrible.
Is he ever doing that with Jack 10 or King Queen or Queen Jack?
Yeah.
Or spades?
Here's always the simple. Like when it happened, if already like your gut sinks and you think you're beat, you're usually beat.
Yeah.
Like I can tell that's the feeling you had even live, right?
Yeah, I did.
But yeah, maybe you're supposed to find a fold there.
I'm wondering if
he could. I
think
King 10 is. I think King 10 is definitely in his range.
Yeah.
So that's what I would be thinking. That's of all the hands you can beat. You block. First of all, you block kings and jacks.
Yeah.
Pocket 10s is certainly a possibility. Kings and jacks, first of all, he's probably 4-betting, so you can take those totally out of his range. Probably, I don't know. Maybe he has jacks sometimes. Ace queen, obviously, definite possibility. King 10.
Jack 10? Yeah. We blocked Jack 10, but that is possible.
Yep. Why wouldn't he just check call those? Probably, though, the 2-pair combinations, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, Steve. That's a tough spot, though.
Yeah, I think it's a fold. It's like you described. I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't have bet the turn. You do risk giving his flush draws a free card. His 8-9 of spades, or if he decided to do that. But this old guy, I don't think he's raising with that, and I don't think he's calling a 3-bet with that. You know what I mean? If he's got spades, it's going to be like ace queen, which fucking has us killed, or whichever the two spades weren't, like an ace 10 or an ace jack or whatever it was. Or like ace 9 suited. Is he really this old guy raising? Maybe he is ace 9, ace 8 suited, spades. But those are just a few combinations there. There's a lot more of ace queen off and sets.
Yeah, I don't know. If it was the main event, I would probably be folding. That's how I use a lot of these stuff. If it was rather than a $30 online, but if it was like the most important term of the year, can you find a fold?
Yeah, I could.
Of course, if the main event was had 20-minute levels, or something.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? That's a whole different other aspect of it. So what did the villain have?
We call, and he's got a set of jacks. And then that's when I was like, well, what the hell did you think he had? Like, there's only a couple things there that you're hoping he's got, and that's like ace 9 of spades, ace 8 of spades, jack 10, which he's probably not doing that with, and king 10. King queen, is he really doing that there with king queen? I guess some villains might, but an old guy like this that's probably 65, he just bought in, he's playing kind of, I don't think he'd do that there. Yeah,
right.
I think it was a fold.
I wonder about the bet sizing too on the turn. I would be betting the turn, but
smaller. Yeah,
probably a little smaller. Not just necessarily get away from the shove, but to get him to call with one pair of hands.
Yeah,
because you think you think you're ahead of a lot of his. He did donk, but I don't know, Steve. If that's the worst hand you played this summer, you've been playing very well.
I guess so, yeah. It worked out too because I went straight over to the win. I regged that. I was there about 5 or 10 minutes after it started, and then we run until like 11 o'clock at night, and we got 28th. So we got a min cash, which paid for both those tournaments, and then after drinks and stuff, waters and coffee and all that, I think I made $30 for the day.
And you cashed another win for like 2,200, didn't you, or something? That was the big cash so far.
That
right?
was the big cash so far. Was the 2,200 at the win? Yeah, it was a 400.
So probably at this point you're maybe up just a couple hundred. I mean, I'm not being dismissive, but you played the 1K.
Exactly.
This is the bottom line.
The 1K I only had after yours. I didn't do a 1% swap with you, but I did with Derek. I guess I had $390 myself, so I had like 39%. I had 40% of myself in that one. So it.
Well, yeah. I mean, just like your overall tournament ROI, I guess, more than like how much you have in it personally. But
okay, hang on. I'm looking.
Well, you don't really have to look it up. I mean, just to make again the point of why tournament poker is so terrible. You cashed at a 4 to 10. And you probably broke even or won a couple hundred.
I'm guessing what this is. I don't know how to use this program to filter for dates or whatever, but I think I'm up or down a couple $100.
Right.
Yeah. That seems about accurate.
I'm deeply envious, obviously.
Yes.
What else was going on in Vegas here? It's kind of fun. You get to catch up with people, right?
It is.
You're a social man. You get the Carlos. Carlos has been like deep in the main event, railing some poker superstars.
Yeah.
And then he finds himself hanging out with some Okie from California, watching him grind a little tournament. So that was kind of fun, right?
It was. That was cool. It was cool. He had 1% of me too, so that was fun. And he and I played a couple tournaments together. We played that one win 400 that he had 1% of me, and then I got 10th. And then we also played one out at Binion's, and that was an interesting tournament. I've got one hand from that. I was on the button. We got 27K. Blind levels are 500, 1K, 1K. 1K and antes. And so we got 2.5 bigs in the pot to start. We've got 27 big blinds, and we've got king queen off on the button.
Okay.
So I make it 3,100, which is I've been doing this 3.1x. I think I talked to you about it. I raised it 3.1, 3,100. The small blind, he sat down probably half an orbit ago. And so I don't really have a read on him. But he raises to 16K. The big blind folds, and it's on us. So we make it 3.1 big blinds. He make it 16 big blinds. And we've got, after our 3,100, we got 24 bigs behind. So If we shove here, I can't imagine a scenario where it's ever folding. But what do you do here with king queen off? Now, a little history too. I had about, I think, 13 big blinds with jack 8 suited. And I look to my left, there's 4 players left, and 2 of them I can tell are folding. And so I'm basically on the button shoving jack 8 suited with, what did I say, 12 or 13 big blinds. And
Right.
I do. The guy ends up calling. He wakes up with ace king, and we actually win. So that was a couple hands before, and that's what the small blind saw. So he saw me shoving into 4 people, but I don't think he was aware that 2 of them were folding right there. So it probably looked light to him. And that's the guy that's 3-betting us out of the small blind.
Right.
What do you think?
I think it's an easy fold. I mean, that's my first instinct. It's just not something you want to when you're 27 bigs deep. It's not like you got a lot of your stack in there. And just because he sees you shove jack 8, I don't know. I mean, how is you when you see someone shove? Of course, you and I know that probably that shoving jack 8 suited from the button with 13 bigs is fine.
Yeah.
But in a small daily, maybe where a lot of people think that's crazy.
Yeah.
I think their response to that is not necessarily, well, he's wide, I'm going to shove him off some of his junk here. It's going to be a lot of players are like, oh, I can't wait to get a hand against this loon. You know what I mean? So that is most people aren't bluffing the guy. If your table image is wild, a lot of people aren't necessarily trying to bluff you.
Yeah.
It's the quality of the competition, everything else. Yeah, king queen off. I always have trouble folding king queen suited. It's basically the same hand probably in this spot, but that's always
it's an extra like 1.34% or something.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know
for
what
me,
it is.
goddamn, I'm not folding suited king queen suited here.
It's hard.
First of all, how many big blinds did the opener have?
Me?
No, the guy who opened the pot.
Oh, I opened the pot.
You 3.1 next. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
3.1, and then
I thought someone limped
and
you made it 3.1.
No, it folded to me on the button.
Okay, so your hand is weak. You do definitely have a wider range than I thought at first. I don't know. I mean, he just like you say, he's not folding. Or if he did, it would be hideous. Obviously, about the worst play ever.
But doesn't this just feel like jacks or like ace king? Like
okay, so you're behind those hands.
Yeah. No, I folded. I'm trying to think if there was any argument for shipping this, but it sounds like there's not.
No, I think it's
easy fold. Okay.
It's an easy fold even against the. If anything, now if this guy you saw was 3-betting a lot, then limp shove is a great spot for that hand.
Yeah. Okay.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or bet shove.
I like doing that move actually with king queen suited right there. Mark Alioto taught me that one. Like you have around 20 bigs, you limp the button with king queen suited, and if you get any action from any of the blinds, you just rip it.
Right.
I like that move a lot. But,
yeah, I mean king queen's a decent hand and everything, but even if he's I don't know how you do. You probably have it 45% against his range. Who knows if he's got a bunch of crummy aces and pairs and stuff. He might have a couple suited connectors.
Okay.
But I think it's an easy fold, Steve. I don't know. We have to go too in depth into that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that was an easy fold. Right on. I took a second, and then I ended up folding, and I was like, if he makes it like 7K here, I think it's kind of like a sexy reship because you got 2 blockers. It's not suited. And you have fold equity, but
again, I'm not even like trying to. I mean, of course, you're always ranging people, and like here, you can say, well, he never has queens plus.
Yeah.
So that means I'm not doing horribly against his range. If you can take aces and kings out, obviously, and queens, but it kind of just doesn't matter because king queen is just not a super great hand to call off your chips with, which is essentially what this is.
Essentially, this is a call off.
Yeah.
Okay, good point. Another one too. I didn't write it down, but I remember it vividly. I was in the cutoff. This was last night at the 550 that we played. I'm in the cutoff with 8-8. I got 2 red 8s. Folds to me. I open to 3x. I got 30 blinds.
Okay.
The button has about 35 big blinds, so he's just got me covered. He 3-bets to 11K, both the blinds fold, it's back on us.
Have you seen him 3-bet before from the button?
I have, and they've been shoves into shorter stacks, and they haven't called.
I'm shoving here.
Okay.
I mean, pocket eights is good. Is a good hand. I guess possibly maybe you'd rather 4-bet call it off. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some good arguments for that. But yeah, this is one of those spots I think I try to defer to what the smarter people say. Like Carlos would probably like a shove here because he might call with pocket sixes and fold king jack suited.
Yeah.
Some of his, I mean, of course he might fold. He might just flat with those hands too. Like I said, he's going to be a lot of aces he's calling with here. Probably ace 10 suited plus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Basically, he does, even if he's 3-betting for value, you're not doing horribly against his calling range, and you got a lot of fold equity. I think you're getting a lot of folds here.
Okay. All right.
I'm trying to think in his position of
the 11K was what threw me off a little bit. I was like, I don't know if you made it like 8.5 or something like that.
Then... I'm sorry. What was your opening size? Your opening size was 3K.
Yeah. 3.1 big blinds, and then he made it 11 big blinds.
That is a big raise, although the trending is to bigger sizing.
True.
I think maybe I started that, frankly.
Yeah.
I was just playing scared.
From Poker. I don't know where it came from.
Playing scared and too dumb to play post flop. So, I mean, my size would probably might be 90, 100. I mean, 80, 900. Yeah, I mean, it's big. Less likely, I guess, you're getting a fold when you shove. But I'm just telling you. I'm saying, just telling you what I would do. 30 bigs, pocket eights, late-ish position against a button raise, button 3-better who's 3-betted before.
Yeah. Okay.
It's again, you're all good with the physical tells and other things. I don't know if your spidey senses were going off that he was strong here. I'll be curious what the result is, but I would have shoved.
Okay. I didn't get anything from him. He was I couldn't tell if he was a professional or not, but he said he lived in, I think it was like Northern California, and he goes fishing a lot. He had this hat on with 2 hooks on it, and it was the one of the farm teams for the Houston Astros. I can't remember their team was called the Hooks. That's what it was. So they have 2 fish hooks, and he's a fisherman and like that. But as far as like reads on him, I didn't get anything. I just got nothing. So
what'd you do?
I folded. I knew it was either a shove or a fold, and it was right on the edge. Like 9s, I would have shipped easy. 7s, I would have folded. 8s, I had a decision, and maybe 7s is even a shove. Now that I think about it, you're still folding out those smaller pairs.
It's not. I want to say it's an easy shove, but. I don't know. Again,
what are you doing with 7s there?
I got killed this summer, Steve. I don't know. I know I'm playing on ACR in a $100 tournament. It's the easiest shove ever.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
True.
Again, my default is probably more aggression than yours is more caution. So.
Okay. All right.
Quickly, Steve, you said we don't have a lot of time. There's a couple other things I'd like to heads up here. Do you you got a date tonight?
I'm going to meet a gal for lunch. One of you met her yesterday. She backed me in the 550, and so I'm going to see how much poker knowledge I can sap out for a hamburger.
I gotcha.
We'll see.
So she's a pro. She knows a lot about poker.
She's a pro, yeah. I talked about one hand that her and I played together. This was a few months ago before I went to China. I talked about it with Carlos, and I was in the small blind with ace queen offsuit.
Wait, where was this? This was in Vegas?
This was in Vegas at the Wynn, yeah.
Okay.
And we got reseated at the final table, and before I was just on her left, and then we got reseated. Then I moved I still moved to her left. I think I was still directly to her left. She opened. It was either the button and the cutoff, and if it was the button, then I was directly to her left. If it was the cutoff, then the button folded, and I was in the small blind. But I was debating 3-betting with ace queen off there or not. She ended up having pocket 5. She flopped a set. I somehow convinced myself that ace high was good. I didn't call her. She didn't bet the river though, which was nice, and so I didn't lose any more there. But Carlos was like, I really like a 3-bet there a lot, and she's just folding so often. And then I found out later, I was like, if I 3-bet there, do you call? And she's all, no, I fold every time. I'm like, okay, note to self. Good job, Carlos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3-betting is, I think, ace queen. I flat ace queen too much. Someone opens early position. Especially if I'm in middle position.
Yes.
I think
that's a tough spot.
I think I should be folding there.
Oh, really? Just open folding?
If somebody opens like under the gun.
Yeah.
And you had ace queen from the low jack, I don't think folding's a mistake.
You might be right. I've been. I sometimes call there and I sometimes 3-bet there depending on who the opener is. But you may be right, especially if it's a tight guy. Just let it go.
Yeah, just basically
don't ever let your cards accidentally flip over so anyone would see them, but just quietly fold.
How deep in stacks were you? Pocket 5s on that hand. Like this is I'm hyper attentive to stack size. So basically, sort of like the last hand where it was 30 bigs versus 30 bigs effective. If I'm in position against you and you're opening, I'm like, I'm like, well, I can just own this guy because he's going to fold. He's got to fold a lot of his small, medium pairs because he can't really 3-bet. I mean, because he can't really set mine.
Yeah.
Basic. I don't know how many, but rather than rambling on here, a lot of people are going to overfold in that spot if you 3-bet probably, not really, or not going to ship as much as they should. Like small pairs, you can reship on someone if you're 30 bigs deep there because if they're an active 3-better, but you can't flat really. Anyways, I don't know, Steve.
I don't remember the stack. It was episode 163. I'd have to go back and listen. I'm guessing It was around 30 to 35, but I just don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know, Steve. We were talking about this a little last night. If we can, without really, I could just sort of throw in one hand real quick though. They say try to play like the player that you hate to play against.
Yes,
it's bothering you, and
I think such a great analogy.
I think I'd less like. I mean, right now I'm a better poker player, at least cash. And I'm certainly less likely to punt a stack in a tournament, but I think I'd rather play against the me of today than the me of a couple of years ago, maybe.
Just more straightforward.
Yeah, maybe coming out of the gate. This is like I'm trying to lay back and wait for people to get mistakes and stuff. I used to be the guy kind of blasting right away. I mean, just an example. This is a hand that I was driving back with this. I drove back with 2 pros, and one of them said this is like the worst hand they've ever heard. How I described it, like it was the stupidest thing they ever heard. But I opened like 30 bigs. I opened UTG 1 and pocket 5s. Not an open off that stack depth. First of all.
Okay, wait. Pocket 5s, 30 bigs, UTG 1. You're not opening?
No, it should not.
What are you doing?
Because you can't call 3-bets.
You're folding?
Yes.
I'm not doing that.
That should be a fold. It depends on the competition. If you're playing pro competition, it's easily a fold. If you're playing against a bunch of guys who are going to be flatting pocket 8s from the button, trying to hit a set kind of shit, if the 3-betting is frequency. But for the most part, yeah, I don't know, Steve. We'd have to let's put it this way, Steve. A real pro knows exactly what hands they're opening in that spot.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay. I'm folding
from that
4s
step
there with 30 bigs, but 5s I'm opening.
Okay. Well, stealing, like this is a spot where Mark might like opening king 6 suited more than pocket 5s, or certainly because you're just getting 3-bet less often.
Yeah.
You're blocking a bunch of combos of ace king, king queen, king jack, king 10 suited.
Yeah.
So anyways, I opened it right away, which is a mistake, I think. And I get 3-bet by someone who's, UTG 3, I guess the low jack. So it's not even a late position raise. I'm opening early position. That's usually strong.
Yeah.
And I bet, so that should have a pretty strong range. It wasn't someone who's 3-betting a bunch, but I was doing a lot of raise folding, and I'm running horrible, lost every flip. So I just decide, you know what? I looked at the stack sizes. I said, I'm going to call. He's going to c-bet. I'm going to check raise for half my stack, and I'm going to take it down. So this is something the Mike of a few years used to do. I used to just decide upon strong lines and take them, regardless of my hand or anything that's going on, which is like
evidence that suggests otherwise.
Which is such a fish thing to do. So, anyways, I call. The flop is ace XX. I check. He bets. I raise for half my stack. He folds, and I win. Pretty 10 big blinds. Yeah. So, like I said, this one guy who's like he's like, what are you fucking talking about? You really like the flop doesn't matter at all? And of course, if it was probably queen jack 10 suited or something, you know what I mean?
You're giving up, yeah.
There's probably a few, but the ace high one I thought was pretty good. If he's got a pure value range of 10s plus, that's a bad flop for 24 combinations of hands, kind of thing, But anyway, Steve, this was a fishy Mike move of 4 or 5 years ago, whatever. And it worked.
It got through.
Yeah. Again, I still remember quickly, the first tournament I won, the Borgata tournament, I remember some hand which I played, which is just asinine. Guy opens under the gun. I just call on the button with like 9-3. Because I decided after all, the guy had been opening and then just c-betting a lot. So I was going to float and like take it down on the turn kind of thing. Typical stuff. It's really not. You could say it's a legitimate thing to just defend your button against every 2-bet. You know what I mean? Because you have position. It's probably value. But it's like a bad flop. It's like whatever, jack 7-5. I don't remember what the flop was. He bet, I called. The turn was no equity for me, like a queen. Queen jack X, and he bets and I raise like big for like most of my stack.
Yeah.
And he goes deep in the tank, and I'm just like, what exactly am I doing? Like the plan was to float and then steal it on the turn, and now I just decided, fuck it, let's ramp it up a notch here.
Yeah.
Not ranging him, not looking at anything. Card combos, what does he c-bet? What does he double barrel with? Blah blah blah, and he tanks forever.
Yeah.
And I'm like 90% sure he had aces or kings.
Yeah.
So this is not a great strategy, trying to get people
to fold aces and kings. Yeah.
Right, with 9 high. So again, it's horrible. It worked. There was a couple things in that PLO tournament when we were like 3-handed, where I'm like check raising kind of shit, with absolute crap. So the check raise is just strong.
Yeah.
Anytime you're raising, it's good. But again, I've had this discussion, like, Mark and Ben just didn't believe in you eliminate the no equity raise out of you can check raise the gutter balls, but not your complete shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, I know is right, but I just feel like the Mike a couple of years ago, I lost every effing flip I had. It was just annoying. I ran bad. It was the major factor in me losing money. But anyway, something to throw out there. I'm frustrated with tournaments, and I don't know, Steve. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, I didn't listen to the KB episode yet. I got to be honest. I don't know. Did you address the whole 6-4 of spades thing? There was a big drama there when you showed up in town.
There was, yeah. I was supposed to get back from them. I assume before I left for the WSOP, because I submitted it, I don't know, a week or so in advance. And before I left, the check was never there. And then I called my neighbor and had him check for it after I'd been here for several days. And he's like, no, it's just junk mail and something from, Edison. I'm like, okay. I was like, so I called up a friend and I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm on this site. They owe me money. It doesn't look like they're paying out. And as online poker players, we've seen this pattern before, And so, of course, we're wary putting our money, too much money, shit can happen and they can go under. And he's like,
Sure.
you gotta call them out. You gotta let anyone know out there that you can reach to not deposit on this site again because they're not paying out. And I'm like, you're right. And so about 20 minutes later, I went and took a cold shower, and then I got out and I recorded a 2-minute episode that basically let everyone know that 6-4 spades is not paying out, and I wouldn't deposit on there, and that gained traction extremely fast. And within a few hours, I had 2 guys on Twitter that wanted to interview me, and one of them even wrote an article on it. And then
I didn't know that. What would they write an article for?
PokerTube. He ended up writing an article. Gotcha. I tried to get him to withdraw it because I talked to the owner a few hours after that, and then we got it sorted out. He was going to overnight it to me, and he assured me that basically it's a small site that all of a sudden, the impression I got talking with the owner is it's a small site. There's only 3 guys running it that gained a lot of notoriety really fast, and they weren't able to keep up with the demand. One of the guys was gone on vacation, so that kind of fell back. And I think it was just a customer service issue. I don't think they're having any trouble paying out. I'm still playing on there, and I know you're probably like, Steve, what are you doing? But I pulled most of my money off. I have a little bit on there that if I lost it, it wouldn't be that detrimental to me. But it's tough for me not to play on there, bro, because it's so soft.
Well, yeah, beyond, of course, there's the issue, Steve. I mean, not that you weren't aware of this. Like right away, I'm like, the issue here is the people listening to the podcast.
The withdrawal issue.
Who deposited from your. So, yeah, I thought you're like, hey, thanks. I talked to the owners. Thanks for straightening everything out because you were going to get your money. You was a little fast. Like, you know what I mean? Like helping the withdrawal from. I mean, you provided that information. So you've got your money. Let's hopefully the problem is solved. But we should give a heads up for the people who, first of all, I don't know if anybody, you took or had 4,000 off. Anybody who has $2,500 was always my number. I never wanted more than that on a poker site.
Yeah. Because
out of fear of things going to shit. So if anyone who signed up for that's my quick thinking that
it's like you said, as soon as there's any withdrawal issues with a poker site, that's the number one red flag.
Right. I'm cynical.
Understand if you guys do not want to play. Like the affiliate deal, what it is when you sign up and you use that link, the podcast gets a portion of your rakeback, and you also get a portion of your rakeback that just gets redeposited into your account. But if you can't pull your money off, then well, what the hell? None of that matters. You know what I mean? But it looks like they had an issue with PayPal, so they're mailing the money orders directly to your house. I don't know. I mean, if anyone wants to withdraw and make sure it works, and then you could always put it back on, or just take your money off. If you want to do that too, I don't blame you. I'm going to keep a little bit on there and play a little bit, but it was definitely an eye opener to have that happen.
Well, of course, I've dealt with this before. So Carbon Poker was having their big issue a couple years ago. Remember, I had all this money trapped on there. I kept playing just because I had money on the site, and I went on a real heater, even though I was already having withdrawal issues. And I'm like, well, maybe they'll get it straightened out. Might be worth for me to stay on there. A lot of top pro. So it kind of worked out that way. But you do have to kind of, and like you said, it's difficult with Ignition stole my money. I mean, there's just no way to put it. There's no other way to put it. I mean, I've asked them, I said, prove it. Show me the successful blockchain transaction to show that I received this Bitcoin. They can't do it and won't do it. And now they're just trolling me. But no, very few other people seem to have problems on that site. So I honestly think there's like some corporate rule where you have to fuck 1% of the people over just for your own entertainment. I mean, I don't know, but like, no, I haven't heard other people have problems with this site. So I don't know what to say. Like, and again, this is a great site. Like, if you're going to play online poker, what you have to play Ignition. This is for a while where I was playing, and Mark's like, how can you not play this site? And then I finally started playing the site again and quickly got out of makeup and started making money because it's just softer than everything else. So now, just out of spite, which I don't know if it's enough. I mean, it's a good enough reason, I think. I mean, they stole my money, but if I'm trying to be an online poker pro, this is why I'm swearing it off altogether, I think, which is probably stupid because overall my hourly wage playing online poker is higher than it is playing cash for sure. But
you can't transfer it from Ignition to ACR.
Well, ACR is just much tougher. So if I'm going to be using my time to sit there and grind, yeah, my hourly, of course, is killed if I don't play Ignition, I guess. So it is a question of profitability too.
Yeah.
But it might be this year, the rest of the year, it might be like 10 Sundays that I play ACR. That might be the extent of it. And every now and then on a Thursday night when I'm home, fire up a 5K turbo or something. I don't know. But I told myself, of course, we know I'm not the most meticulous poker student that I'm going to be. When I do study, it's going to be cash, though, because that's where the money's at. But quickly about the 6-4 spades. Okay, people. I guess people have full information here that you're going to still sell you're still going to be getting, if people watch the show, deposit, you still get a little chunk of it, right? That's why.
Yeah,
that's
the
how it works.
podcast gets a little bit of rakeback. And,
but you genuinely believe in the site. This isn't you like, my God, I can't lose that $30 a month. This is you're not a poor man. So just make it clear that has nothing to do with this. You're still playing the site, and you've talked to the owner. Of course, Steve, I'm the most bitter cynic, and you are a highly trusting individual.
Maybe I'm too trusting.
Right.
It's going to take a while for them to get my full confidence back, and if you guys have any problems getting your money off, let me know, and I'll take care of it. I've got the owner's cell phone number.
Start the social media shitstorm. Yeah, I just, you're having trouble getting your money. Just say, I just want to hear it's on its way.
That's all it would have taken. Yes, if they had just emailed me and said, look, we're having, we had this little software glitch. We're hoping to fix it in the next week and a half or two. We're sorry, but we will mail you a cashier's check at the end of that. Let us know what address you want us to mail it to.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying I don't want to hear about, again, I don't know, Steve. I'm not an IT guy or whatever the hell the word is. I don't know how to build a website. But that would be something that would be dealt with very early, I would think. Just processing even before you start working out a strategy for how, what sort of rake back you're going to offer people, or, your promotional stuff. You're going to work out the processing issues. This is how people deposit. This is how we withdraw. We need absolute security for the player's money.
Yeah.
And apparently they had some trouble with that. So, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But like you said, it's an issue that every poker player has to kind of decide upon.
It is. That's the risk
who to trust. I don't.
That's the risk we have to take as online players. Is when you play on sites that have a small player pool and they're very soft, it's not as established as America's Card Room, but it's a lot softer, and your hourly is going to be a lot better there. So pick your poison. You know what I mean?
Well,
this would be more risk for these little sites, but.
Well, we need legalized online poker in the country. That would solve a lot.
I know. But if you guys want to withdraw your money, now's the time. You can do it. I'm going to keep a small little nest egg on there and continue to play. And if you want to do the same, you can. If not, that's cool too. It's all good. But I just wanted complete transparency and let you guys know what I learned talking to the owner. And after 30 minutes with him on the phone and dealing with him afterwards, I think there could be a lot of potential in this site. I could be wrong. But, I didn't get the impression that it was anything that they were doing maliciously or anything. It was just a glitch in the matrix, and these guys are working 90 hours.
Well, like I said, it might be like my thing with an Ignition. It might be an anomaly, I guess. When you did say don't deposit, nobody else jumped in and said, I can't withdraw either.
True.
So that hasn't happened yet, which maybe thinks that, for whatever reason, they just had a problem with this one deposit. But I don't know, Steve. I don't trust people. So we'll see. I'm going to ask for updates here.
Okay. Fair enough.
I want to know if the 6-4 spades people have, breaking into your room at night. No, I'm sure. Hopefully it'll be fine. I guess that's there's nothing really too much more to say on it. You've covered that. So how much longer are you going to be in Vegas? What are your plans hereafter? I wish I almost stuck around in town just for the TPE meetup, but I needed to go. I know that's coming up tomorrow, right?
That's tomorrow, yeah, the 22nd at 8 p.m. at PT's Pub. I'm going to be, let's see, today is the 21st. I'm going to be here. I have to leave the 27th because I got to go to work on the 28th. But so I've got, counting today, 6 days.
Okay, sounds good.
Bounce. Yeah, it's going by quick. Man, it's been fun, though. It's been fun.
Any chance you since you're up a little bit, Steve, why not roll the dice here and enter the monster stack, man?
How much is that one?
It's $1,500. I know that's high. Maybe you could get on Twitter and hey, I've cashed 4 out of 10 times. All I want to do is raise $500. Take 1,000 of your own action. I mean, this is about as good as it gets here, man. I think. I don't know the monster stack like it.
When is day 2 of the monster stack?
I'm guessing Sunday. So probably this tournament doesn't probably end until Wednesday or Wednesday of next week. So maybe you can't even do it.
I'll have to check.
Just a thought.
If I do end up playing it, guys, pay attention to my Twitter at HUP Podcast, and if I play that one, I'll definitely be selling action.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Speaking of my whole, I wanted to. I kind of said this last year. I was over Vegas, and of course, I just have the tournament thing in my blood.
Yeah.
And I was talking on the way back. It's like it's ego now too. I don't want to leave. I understand poker now. I realize tournaments are just for fun. This is not a way to make a living. For a few gifted individuals, I mean, it can be a way to make a permanent life roll, if you get lucky. But if I do return to Vegas, it's got to be like I got to really target the right tournaments. I got to spend a lot of time at the Wynn with you and Carlos, I think.
Dude, I'm telling you, those wins are so valuable.
And there's a few WSOP tournaments I would definitely play. The Monster Stack, the Double Stack, the Millionaire Maker, and probably the main event. Let's just assume I was, could sell action and could kind of play any tournament that I want. And, that might be it. Just play those weekend tournaments that bring all the people in. But like the weekday 1500s and those kind of stuff, like those are the ones that are really, really pro heavy because you don't have as many amateurs. A lot of the amateurs like the big gimmicky tournaments.
Yeah.
So if I do return to Vegas and I left Vegas, I don't know if I want to say I'm over it, but again, I just don't. But I left Vegas not even like depressed or cry. I felt bad that I lost people's money again. Not last year I was really embarrassed, and like at this point I'm like, I played well. There's just nothing to do. I finally have understand it. But it wasn't. I didn't feel like I have to come back and prove myself, and it's just like okay, the tournaments are stupid. I was running very good in cash. For me to come out there and lose 78 to brick 7,800 in tournaments is probably pretty stupid.
But you got to hang out with me.
Well, that's true.
Yes.
But for that reason, maybe always come out for a week and play the online one. Of course, big stars around that one. I have to play that one. I think every year. I mean, that's the one where my edge will be biggest. I think.
Yeah.
But just talking to these guys on the way back, I'm like, there's an ego here. I can't just leave now. And like now is the perfect time to get out. You've lost money and you understand what the problem is with all this crap.
Yeah.
You've second summer in a row, you took it on the chin. And, if I didn't go to Vegas the last 2 summers, I'd be $40,000 richer,
Yeah.
So, my Vegas experience. But all I had to do was fold pocket tens in the online event, and who knows? I might be sitting on a $250,000 here.
True. Well, I got to wrap it up. I'm going to head out, but you may come back out or you may not.
Well, I was throwing out the idea of going out with my son the weekend of the 1K, and spending 2 days with him, having fun, going to the arcade, hanging out by the pool, this and that. And then playing the, sticking him in front of the computer with his headphones for the
While
Sunday
you play the
tournament
online.
while I play the 1K.
Here's Netflix, son. Enjoy yourself.
Justifying my bad parenting, or you never know. Maybe I could play that 1K at Alex's house with you know what I mean, and he could still hang out by the pool, and those guys can have some fun with him.
Yeah.
But it'd be
play chess.
It'd take some effort to clear out the drug den. First of all, it might be more effort.
Yes.
Frankly.
Where do we hide the 4 bongs?
Pot's legal now, man. It's no longer taboo, obviously.
Oh man, I
don't want my
more
son
weed
to
walking out or into a poker room than I have before in my life. It's impressive. Like, all right, just a green cloud. But anyways, I got to run, Mikey.
Okay, Steve. Nice talking to you.
Thanks for coming on, and thank you for tuning in. Here is your weekly motivational speech.
You ever heard this myth? Everything happens for a reason, so just accept it. Well, there's kind of truth to that. If I jump off a building and break my legs, yes, everything happened for a reason. The reason was gravity. Like, that's why you break your legs, and physics. Legs brittle, concrete not brittle. So, but people interpret everything happens for a reason, be like, well, I was meant to learn from that thing, and then BS. Read Richard Dawkins' The Selfish Gene, one of the most important books written in the last century. He says, organisms that only learn through trial and error lose to organisms that can learn through other people's trial and error. Is anybody here, we got a little live audience, anybody here ever had to be hit by a car to learn to look both ways? I didn't. I kind of learned from just somebody telling me, big car, 2 tons, velocity, smash, dead. And I now always look both ways. So if your myth is that the only way you're gonna learn is just through massive mistakes and trials and error, you haven't read Richard Dawkins' book. If you believe in evolution, or even you don't, you believe in creationism or whatever, why do we have big brains? Because we do have the biggest brains on planet Earth. Not always use them, but we got the biggest potential. It's to be able to, what Richard Dawkins called, project. So you can literally sit in this chair and predict outcomes without having to do them. And because we're all narcissists because of society and Instagram and all this, and I'm guilty of that too, we don't like to be uncomfortable because a narcissist's story to themselves is, you're the best. And so your worldview is messed up. That's a wiring issue. Let me put it this way. I meet people who think they're smart, okay? What it really tells me is they've never been around actual smart people. If you're really smart watching this, let's say you have 155 IQ. That's what Bill Gates has, and Albert Einstein were up there. My step-grandfather had 155 IQ. He speaks 14 languages fluently. He can write Chinese. He's a chess master. He can play 3 other chess masters without looking at the board while they look at the board and beat all of them. If you're smart, you can do that. If you're not, I got good news for you. Warren Buffett says you only need about a 125 IQ to be very successful. But it's better to stay in your lane and just go, I'm not that smart, but you can hire 155 IQs. But that's an example of what I'm talking about, of this rewiring.
Right.
So these practical things will change your life.
All right, since you have a concept called never be the bitch of your own mind.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Your own mind is driven by deep evolutionary drives. So, for example, narcissism is a protection mechanism, right? So your mind wants to tell you you're amazing. It makes you its bitch. You have to override that and go, you know what? I'm not that amazing. So let me go learn from amazing people.